What's going on, everyone? This is Sulky, and today's video is going to be all about the timeline for banners coming with Sumeru. We're going to go from 3.1 all the way to 3.5, and basically everything I talk about is going to be rooted in speculation. It is in no way 100% true at all. Some of this is just my own opinions, and some of it is actually from sussy leaks that we have gotten over the past month about who's going to come on the banner. We can also make some speculation based on the characters that Hoyoverse themselves have dripped in their own teasers for Sumeru. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right now, when I am making this video, we are in 3.0 and 3.1 is expected to drop on September 28th, which coincides with Genshin's 2nd anniversary, which is so wild that it's already here. That should be coming on the 28th. We'll know more about 3.1 and what's coming for our anniversary probably on September 16th, I would imagine, is when they'll do their live stream for the upcoming patch. But let's get into it. We are going to be seeing two brand new characters that were also dripped in their promotional video for Sumeru. And that is Nilou, who is a 5-star Hydro Sword user, and Cyno, who is a 5-star Electro Polearm. Now, as of right now, these two characters' kits revolve around the new Dendro reactions. If you want to learn more about the Dendro reactions, I did cover that in a separate video, but Nilou is looking like a Bloom / Hyper Bloom character, whereas Cyno is falling more into the Aggravate category. So Hoyoverse is definitely pushing these new reactions, which I think is kind of funny because as this video progresses, you'll notice that there really isn't a lot of Dendro coming our way, except for in 3.0, which is happening right now, and then in 3.3. So it is interesting to see new characters coming with a reliance on reactions where we are kind of limited right now in Dendro characters we can use with them. So Sumeru as a whole is looking rather interesting to me because of this. And I don't want to get too much on a tangent. I might save this for another video, but I just think it's interesting how they now have this history of pushing out characters whose kits rely on something that really isn't present in the game or not accessible to everyone. Similarly in 2.5 with Miko and her elemental mastery and her passive seeming really weird at the time, and her unable to make use of her passive is quite odd that it took until 3.0 for us to finally be able to utilize her full kit in that way. So I think that we're going to be seeing a trend with this with Hoyoverse, honestly, throughout the Sumeru patches. I digress. So September 28th is going to offer those two brand new characters. Now, what are we going to be getting for reruns? Now, I will be going into a tiny bit, I'm really not going to spoil it that much, of an event that is supposed to happen in 3.1. We are going to be going to Mondstadt in 3.1 for a festival. That kind of gives us an idea of what kind of character is going to get rerun. My first initial thought was like Albedo and Eula, which they haven't had their reruns since we were actually introduced to double banners. However, I will say that I think Albedo will come a little bit later, probably like in patch 3.3 or 3.4 when we get into the winter months, because we associate him with Dragon Spine, and Hoyoverse usually does something cute that involves the mountain around the colder months. So I will hold off on saying that Albedo is going to get a rerun then, but Eula is definitely an option that is on the table for this, purely because it's a Mondstadt event and because she hasn't had a rerun in a bit. But I also want to throw kind of a wild card out there. What if Venti reran again? Now, we haven't seen Venti since the Iridori Festival in 2.6, and that's when he got his rerun, which was highly anticipated, and the wait was really long for that. But the reason that I'm saying this is rooted in something, and that is we are seeing Ganyu, Kokomi, and Zhongli running right now, and that in itself does seem kind of random, considering, you know, they had reruns not too long ago. They're not a part of the story at all right now in 3.0. However, their purpose for being here is because it's attractive to new players. You have a meta healer, one of the best DPS in the game, and the best shielder in the game running, which is going to give new players something to be excited about because these characters are great. Zhongli in particular being an Archon, if you're just starting the game, you already have access to one, which is great. I think that Hoyoverse is going to keep up this accessibility to attract new players and run another Archon in the next patch, especially because there's already going to be this hype around the anniversary. It just seems like, at least in my opinion, that an Archon rerun is more likely here. So my guesses for 3.1 are going to be Venti and or Eula, as well as our 2 brand new 5-stars. Now, Uba is claiming that Cyno and Candace, the 4-star that was drip marketed that is a Hydro Polearm, are going to be in the first banner, and then Nilou is going to run in the second half. So it could be that one of them runs alone and the other one runs with the rerun. So like, for instance, like Nilou and Venti run together and then Cyno runs alone. Or we could be seeing Mondstadt characters rerun alongside both of them for both parts of that patch. That is the prediction for 3.1. Moving on to 3.2. Now, 3.2 is expected to release in November 2nd to be specific, which means we'll learn more about what's coming to 3.2 probably on October 21st is when the live stream would air. November is going to feature another Archon, but this time it's going to be Lesser Lord Kusanali's first run, and I expect this to be a very exciting patch because we are getting access to the Archon now. She is running a little bit later into the actual patch, like if we compared her to A, who got her release in 2.1. So 3.2 is looking like Kusanali is coming. Besides us getting Kusanali, there is some additional crumbs that we have for 3.2 that we can kind of speculate on here. Again, I'm not going to go into the details of what the actual event is or anything like that, but apparently Yae Miko is supposed to be a part of the story in 3.2, which I am so excited about. I honestly thought she'd be, you know, getting a rerun immediately at the start of 3.0 just because we all knew that Dendro and Miko were gonna go well together, but Miko does have some relevance in 3.2, so I'm gonna put her here as the rerun for 3.2. Now, like I said, Hoyoverse is really pushing these new Dendro reactions. It is a beautiful time to see the return of Yae Miko. I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to put her on an aggravate team. I'm going to say that Yae Miko is going to get her first rerun in 3.2. Now, besides Yae Miko, Yoimiya and Child apparently are also going to be a part of an event together in 3.2. This is going to be a separate event than what Yae Miko is in, and it will also be with a new character named Layla, who is apparently a 4-star. Now, Uba claims that Kusanali, Child, Yoi, and Yae are probably going to run in 3.2, but speculates that the Yoimiya banner will probably be the second one due to her just recently getting rerun in 2.8. If Child and Yoimiya are a part of the event together, I'm going to put them on the second half of the banner, and I'm going to put Kusanali and Miko on the first half of the banner because of this. And now because we have this 4-star Layla involved in the same event with Yae, I'm going to assume that she is going to be the 4-star running in the first half of this patch. And that might potentially be it for 3.2. Now, we're also seeing a trend here with Zhongli in 3.0, Venti potentially in 3.1, Kusanali in 3.2. Let's talk about 3.3. So 3.3 is expected to release December 7th. The live stream happening potentially on the 25th. I don't know if they'll do something different because of the holiday in America. I don't know if they would really follow on something like that, but let's just say November 25th. Potentially the live stream for 3.3 coming December 7th. This one is something that a ton of leakers have been talking about. I don't want to say take this as fact, but Scaramouche is expected to get his banner in 3.3. who better to run alongside him than the Raiden Shogun? I'm saying this for a couple of reasons. First, she better have story relevance if they're going to be running his banner and he's getting story relevance. I think there's a lot there to unpack and resolve between the two of them. One, I'm hoping that she's getting that story relevance, but two, we all know the connection between the two of them. It makes sense for her to show up with his release. Now, this would also mean that from 3.0 to 3.3, we are seeing all of the Archons get their rerun, which again would be great for new players to have access to them immediately. This has also been confirmed by a reliable leaker, although it's categorized as sussy from the WFP. So many leakers have been saying this for months now. Again, take with a grain of salt, but it is very, very likely. Now, 3.4, also according to Uncle Lou, the same one who talked about Scara, there's apparently gonna be no new 5 stars in 3.4. Now 3.4 is expected to release on January 5th. So in the new year, this would probably mean like the Lantern Rite Festival time. Definitely Liyue characters coming into the mix here. But it's interesting that we're not getting a new 5-star, because I think a lot of us were just assuming that Baizhu was finally gonna get a banner during the Lantern Rite and Chinese New Year. It just made a whole lot of sense. Now, of course, this could still happen. This leaker could be wrong. But if Baizhu isn't running, who can we expect to run in the New Year's patch? A couple come to mind. Shenhe. We haven't seen her since last year at this point once January hits. So 1 year after her release, definitely makes sense to see her on the banner. You know what? I just realized Hu Tao. We haven't seen Hu Tao since Halloween of last year. Perhaps she'll run again in 3.1, though I don't really know about that. Maybe they save her for January, but Shenhe, definitely leaning toward her. The other one that's coming to mind, Yelan. It will have then been a while since Yelan got a rerun, so I am thinking that they'll probably throw those two into the mix, and that will be some fun reruns. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about here is that this person said specifically no new 5 stars, which leaves the potential for Yao Yao to make her appearance in the game, finally, after being teased since before Genshin even came out. She is expected to be a 4-star, so it could definitely be possible here that we see Yao Yao on one of these banners, which would be pretty cool. I know a lot of people are looking forward to her, but kind of unfortunate about the Baizhu thing. I am wondering what do they have planned for this guy, that another year is going by and we still do not know when he's coming. And Savior Primos did confirm that he is playable and is a 5-star, so he will be coming one day, just not for the new year, apparently. And now we end with 3.5, which is expected to release February 16th, with the live stream probably happening on the 4th. 3.5. I get the vibe that Alhaitham is the Yae Miko of Sumeru. However, according to leakers, he's not running then. We are finally going to see the release of another Sumeru character that was in the teaser trailer, and that is Dehya, who is expected to run. I really thought it was going to be Alhaitham. I don't know. We got Miko running in 2.5, who made an appearance at the beginning of the Archon quest and then never to be heard of again until February. I thought that he was giving off the same vibes, but apparently it's not him, and it's Dehya, who is a 5-star Pyro Claymore user. We will be seeing her release in February. Now at this point, I have absolutely no idea who could potentially be rerunning alongside her. I think that we're getting a little too far into the future, honestly, at this point with February's release. So let's talk about something else. March 30th will probably be 3.6. I would assume Alhaitham will come up at this point or potentially later than that. But as of right now, according to Uba, Sumeru is expected to finish up in 3.8 and then Fontaine releases in 4.0. Now, I'm sure we're going to be introduced to a bunch of new characters that we don't even know about yet, who have just had like slight mentions in games or haven't had any mentions in games, honestly. Similar to what we saw in Inazuma, Heizo coming out, Kuki Shinobu. All I could say is for right now, potentially some more Inazuma characters could be released once we get to 2.5. We do have Ayato, who will need his first rerun, which he got his first banner in 2.6. So it does look like potentially he can come back around this time. And then of course, other 4 stars that we don't know about could be sprinkled into this whole thing that obviously I could not have predicted at all. Then of course we have characters like Dottore, who could potentially see their first banner while we are in Sumeru, but I really don't have any information. I know that he'll be playable one day and that he's a 5-star, but that's kind of it for what I know about him. Maybe we see him toward the end of Sumeru, like maybe in 3.8 or something, get his first banner. That would just kind of leave 3.6 and 3.7 up in the air for what's to happen. Probably some new characters that we don't know much about yet though. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. Hopefully you found it helpful. Let me know down in the comments below, what do you think is coming to the banners for Sumeru? I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And of course, if you like this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Genshin content, and I will see you in the next one.